It's impossible to read the Rum Diary and not feel Hunter, but it's not the Hunter of the speed era of the 1960s. It's not an adrenaline fueled Hunter. Along with a team of people, including Wayne Ewing and Curtis Robinson, Mary Sue Rucci of Simon & Schuster, Heidi, who was a girlfriend of Hunter's at the time. People would come and read. Johnny Depp was very involved with it and would read and help Hunter cut out some parts to bring the novel out.
We've already cut a lot of this in the first time through, and I think if I read it right now, we can pick up the thread.
It's amazing to see it all brought together after all of our struggles last night. And
It was mid-morning when I left the house, but the sun was already so hot that it felt like mid-afternoon. Driving along the beach, I remembered how much I enjoyed the mornings when I first came to San Juan. There was something fresh and crisp about the first hours of a Caribbean day, a happy anticipation that something's about to happen, maybe just up the street or around the next corner. Faulkner used to say it's important for writers to claim a patch of somewhere. You know, he had Oxford, Mississippi, or the way Hemingway's Nick Adams stories had the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Puerto Rico never had its poet laureate. And so Hunter kind of felt that he could create something out of what it meant to be part of the United States, but what not to be part of journalism, but be an outsider also. Then came noon, and morning withered like a lost dream. The sweat was torture, and the rest of the day was littered with the dead remains of all those things that might have happened, but couldn't stand the heat.
Jesus.
When the sun got hot enough, it burned away all the illusions, and I saw the place as it was, cheap, sullen, and garish. Nothing good was going to happen because the garbage god wouldn't stand for it.
The garbage god has always been a little confusing. I like nothing good was going to happen here. That's a final judgment.
The Rum Diary was a challenge because the idea was to edit it without changing anything. The idea was to edit it without putting in, you know, for Hunter, some words were like really good old friends that he worked with quite a bit. Brutal, you know, was one of them. Doomed. Well, this book predated those friends, and it was a challenge for him not to introduce those into the editing process.
He lit a cigarette. "You know we're still out on bail," he said quietly. "We're doomed." You want to keep that?
Okay, that contributes a little bit to the story.
Okay, so...
Keep it for now. Yeah, doomed, now it's going to have to jump. We have to do something about being doomed. We can't reflect on it anymore.
No. Well, we're going to cut the landlady, so we'll cut 354.
Oh, that's right. Here's this tirade against this woman, this rotten landlady.
Yeah.
This evil, scheming, witless lump of jelly.
He would want to start to tweak it, and the problem with Hunter was he couldn't, anything he touched suddenly became a mature Hunter Thompson thing because his style was so evident and everything. So it was almost like he couldn't change anything, and it was amusing in a way, but it could be a horrible thing to watch.
The song was Laura, and the sad notes floated out to the patio and hung in the trees like birds too tired to fly.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. Well, at 22, you can write shit like that.
The song was Laura, and the sad notes floated out to the patio and hung in the trees like birds too tired to fly. It was a hot night with almost no breeze, but I was feeling cold sweat in my hair. For lack of anything better to do, I studied a cigarette burn in the sleeve of my blue Oxford cloth shirt. Solid called for more drink, and Sweet brought out 4 rums, saying they were on the house. We thanked him and sat for another half hour, saying nothing. Down on the waterfront, I could hear the slow clang of the ship's bell as it eased against the pier, and somewhere in the city a motorcycle roared through the narrow streets, sending its echo up the hill to Cayo O'Leary. Voices rose and fell in the house next door. Sounds of a San Juan night, drifting across the city through layers of humid air. Sounds of life and movement, people getting ready and people giving up. The sound of hope and the sound of hanging on. And behind them all, the quiet, deadly ticking of a million hungry clocks. The lonely sound of time passing in the long Caribbean night.
Hey, I think we better
The end.
quit while we're ahead.
I agree. I'm so happy.
This isn't really a huge surprise. You don't realize how How really lucky you are. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna cry.
I think it turned out to be a study of his internal conflicts with compromise. I think he finally got what he wanted from it, even though it was many years later. It's amusing we called it the long lost novel, but I think he knew where it was every moment of his life.
That's the cigarette off the top.